Tate preaches be better, like be self-improvement, like the self-improvement part that they preach. I like that a lot. I feel
Sure,
like
and
that
but the
also,
thing is don't you feel like you could get that exact same advice from like anybody else? Because it's
yeah,
Andrew Tate and Sneako, their main thing is not like just hit the gym more. Because one, I agree that you should work out. That's really healthy. I have not taken my own advice, obviously, but it's a good thing to work out. I agree that yeah, if you're just feeling sad one day, it's not an excuse to just like give up on all your responsibilities or let yourself get out of shape because you felt sad. But a lot of the times it's this surface level good advice, which let's be real, any motherfucker can tell you go to the gym.
there's a few things I was kind of debating with myself on what, but one of the things probably is the body shaming. How you say, I'm not saying is you should just blatantly, you're a fat ass, you're a piece of shit, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But letting them know the problem that you are obese, it is unhealthy, it's very bad for you. You should change yourself. You should not just accept that you're fat and be okay with your body because you're fat. That'd be like telling an alcoholic, be okay with being an alcoholic because it's part of who you are,
Mhm.
in my opinion, which I don't believe is healthy. I think if you're an alcoholic, you need to change that. If you're fat, you need to change that.
I mean, so far everything you're saying is exactly what I said on that panel. I said that like it's an objective fact that being obese is unhealthy and it's bad and there's nothing wrong with obviously it's bad. Yes, you shouldn't accept yourself as myself is this person who is fat and that's it and then roll over and give up. Instead, it's more about just accepting the fact that this is your body. You only have one body, you only have one life. And once you practice more self-acceptance, it's that self-acceptance that motivates you to further improve your body and lose weight and go to the gym, etc. I think a lot of the times people are just confused. Because intuitively it seems like it would make sense. Like, hey, you're dumb and fat, lol, and then that person feels bad that they were called fat, so they want to go lose weight. That makes sense intuitively, but that's just not how it plays out in the real world because a lot of people who are overweight, even if they weren't initially using eating or something as a coping mechanism, once you become overweight and especially like obese in that category, you're far more likely to be suffering from depression and shit like that. So if somebody's like binge eating because they're really depressed, going and telling them that they're a fat fuck is just going to make them more depressed and then make them want to binge eat more. So it's actually like paradoxical in a way that you're causing these people to continue putting on weight rather than lose it.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. And so you don't think being constructively criticizing them, like constructively criticizing them instead of just telling them like, okay, you're okay with how you are, be positive about it. I feel like if people looked at themselves and said, okay, I'm obese, I'm fat. This is not okay. I need to change. This is like I don't think that they should accept it as okay, or this is my body.
But I don't think
This is what I
anybody's
am.
so I don't
But I'm
think accepting your body is saying it's okay that I'm fat. I think it's that even more so you could say this is who I am. But who I am is not necessarily a fat person. It's not necessarily a fit person or a skinny person. You are who you are. And so if you recognize that and then you recognize that the body is the only body you're going to have in your only life you know for sure you have, then yes, you should work to improve your body and so that you can live longer, happier, healthier life. Um, but like a lot of what you're talking about, sort of acknowledging that it's unhealthy, I fail to see where this is no longer happening. Most everybody is aware that yes, being really overweight is not good for you. Um, but saying that is not body shaming. Body shaming is usually like, look at these fat whales, look at these fat people, haha, let's laugh at them. It's that kind of shit that's more in line with body shaming.
okay, okay, I see where you're going here. And another thing about depression,
Mhm.
or do you just do one topic per person?
No, I wanna talk to you
Okay,
about whatever you disagree with me the most on.
okay. So with depression, clinic clinical depression, as they say, or whatever, the medication that is prescribed to people, I don't believe that's a good way to go about your depression. I don't believe that depression is something that not only can't be fixed, but like is a mindset. So like if you I don't think I can personally ever be depressed because of my mindset
So, do you think that
personally.
maybe you have the certain mindset where you don't feel prone to depression because you don't have depression?
No, I felt depressed before. I have been through depressed stages in my life, and I
But you
wouldn't
have
say
to,
I was
sorry to cut you off already, but you have to recognize that,
right.
yeah, most every human being is going to go through like a depressed phase or feel really sad and lonely and withdrawn in times of their life. But that's not the same as depression. So, like, you can have a
Right.
depressive episode or like a phase where you feel depressed. But the clinical type of depression that I'm talking about is one that it doesn't go away. It's not like, here's a bad thing that happened to me. Now I'm depressed. If I can fix this bad thing, I'm no longer depressed. That's not what depression is. That would just be being sad.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what I think I disagree with. I think you can maybe not so much as in do something about it because there's been stuff in my life that I have no control over that people could probably become depressed over, like, and never get out of that slump or whatever. Like you said, just feeling sad,
Mhm.
basically. So it's not clinical depression. But I don't I, the clinical depression, I feel like there is a way to help yourself no matter what. Like no matter what type of depression you have, I feel like you can always better like change your mindset, better yourself in some type of way. Maybe not as in people say get money, go to the gym, get jacked,
Mhm.
whatever. I feel like you can always help get out of your depression stage, get out of the depressed clinic. Even if you're clinically depressed, I believe that you can get over it. And I don't believe another thing I don't believe that you say is that the antidepressants are a good thing. I don't believe that.
Okay, well, the thing is that I feel like every time I have conversations with people about depression, it's like the same conversation because you're right that you should try your best to have a positive mindset. You're right that you should do things to try and not be depressed. You're correct about literally all of that. The thing is though, it's not like this either or. It's not A, just give up and literally roll over and accept the fact you're depressed and nothing's ever going to get better and die. Like that's not, it's not that versus have a better mindset, bro. It's usually a little bit of, well, not both as far as give up, but it's a little bit of both as far as um have a good mindset, exercise, try to eat healthy, do things that have been shown to benefit depression, but you cannot just mindset your way out of a legitimate mental health disorder. Like, I brought this up to the last guy that I
So
talked to about the depression that,
okay.
like, there are brain scans you can look at. Depressed people's brains are different. Like, there's a problem, a mental health problem here. It's not just someone who's constantly negative and pessimistic and sort of is just sad because they're always thinking about how shitty everything is. It's not like that. A lot of the times it's just that they can't fully mindset themselves out of this because there's an actual problem in their brain.
Um, okay, and I think that's where we differ. So I get what you're saying. It's not one or the other. It's not lay down and oh, I'm depressed. I never get out of this. And it's not completely like, okay, I'm depressed. I do these things and I won't be depressed no more. I see what you're saying, but I feel like me personally, as a non-clinical, clinically depressed person, I could go to a doctor right now, probably tell them problems that I have and real life problems, not no bullshit problems. I don't know if you cuss on here and if I can or whatever, but
I cuss so much on here.
okay,
Don't worry about it.
okay. So I could tell them all that, like some problems that not no just BS or whatever, some real life like issues that I think I could possibly be clinically depressed by doctors. But me myself, even if they clinically depressed me, like so you're saying if I went to the doctors with all these problems, told them I can't like get happy, I'm always sad, I'm this, I'm always that, and they will do this brain scan on me and then they will tell me I'm not clinically depressed or I am, one or the other.
Well, if you were going to a doctor and actually saying that you were consistently sad, and because I'm looking at the symptoms here. So being consistently sad is a symptom of depression. So, like, if that were the
Right.
case, then you might be diagnosed with depression because you're telling them verbatim what a symptom of depression is. But if you're truthful with the doctor and saying, sometimes I have, days where I feel really sad and I feel just really shitty. And then sometimes there's days where I just have really no motivation. But then usually if I'm able to go outside and kind of hit the gym, I tend to get out of that and I'm able to be a lot more positive and those feelings kind of go away. If you were to say that, that's not clinical depression. Like you can look up what are the five, I'm reading here, what are the five main symptoms of clinical depression? Continuous low mood or sadness. So it's not like oh, I feel a little happier today and I'm a little sad yesterday because my grandma died. And like, it's not like that. It's continuously low mood, sadness, feeling hopeless and helpless, having low self esteem, feeling tearful, guilt ridden, irritable, having no motivation or interest in things, and finding it difficult to make decisions. So, like, as someone who has clinical depression, I have felt, I would say, probably all of these symptoms. Maybe not the difficult to make decisions thing as much, but like, this isn't just like a I'm sad today because something happened. That's why it's a mental illness. Is there is no rational explanation for it. There's a problem in your brain.
So you're saying someone at birth that has a good life, they grow up with mom and dad in the house and they got a good family, mom and dad's there, they go to school,
Mm-hmm.
they are not overweight, they're in a good mentally healthy environment around their mom and dad and etc.
Yeah.
That person can just at birth be clinically depressed because
No,
of something in
I
their
don't think
brain.
anybody's born with depression. Um,
Okay, so it's
uh,
something that happens to you, but I thought you were saying that it's not just something that happened to you and you feel sad about it.
well, people are
I thought it
saying
was
it's
in your
rightfully
brain, like
call it. Well,
something
hold
was
on.
different.
Let me
Okay,
correct
go
myself.
ahead.
So
Go ahead.
you're correct in the sense that some elements of depression are hereditary. So you could be born with a higher likelihood of developing depression later on in life. Um, so yeah, I can look it up. Like, how do people get depression? But you're correct in the sense that, or it might sound wrong, but it's true that yes, you can live a life that is good. Nothing bad happens to you. You have good supportive parents. You make a lot of money, and you can still be depressed. Yes.
And that's just like something that you're born with and it's in your brain and
I think if it
that's
was hereditary, you'd be born more likely to have it.
okay.
I'll look it
Okay, I
up
see what you're
just to give a more detailed explanation because this is something I would like to know too.
okay. Oh yeah, and one more just off topic kind of a little bit here. On looking stuff up and like I get you pull up your facts and you got to get facts from the internet and sources like people do studies and this is how we determine what facts are instead of just saying okay, I've seen three females that suck at driving, females suck at driving. You do the studies and you figure out things. But do you realize that most of the things that you do pull up on the internet and debate with people, like look, I have the proof right here that they can go to a different source on the internet and pull up their side of the argument.
Well, people say that and then they literally never bring a different source.
Right, I understand that, but so you think that's basically just bullshit that people can't do that or they're
I
just
think
talking
that
shit
people
and they
tell
just don't do it.
themselves that, like, oh, well, anybody can just find a study. However, most reputable and peer reviewed studies don't only conduct just like one study and then they're like, hey, here you go, we're done. A lot of the times it takes into account previous research as well. So a lot of the times the more reputable studies, like the ones that I try to use, are built upon prior research, which was already done. So it's usually not just like, well, here's womenAreAwesome.com and they did a study and they said that women are good drivers. It's usually like, we tested 3,000 women and then tested response times. And this compared to previous data supports the notion that women are equally as good drivers as men. That would be more like the type of study that I would want to go for, not just like quick study of like 5 women type thing, or because either one, you're actually not going to be able to find a different study, or two, the type of study you're going to be able to find is going to be low quality, or it's just going to be like in the minority. It's like, here's one study that says this, but then why are there like 20 other studies that say the opposite? And so
Okay.
just to get back on this depression thing real quick.
Okay.
So what are the main causes of depression? So abuse, physical, sexual, or emotional abuse can make you more vulnerable to depression. Age, certain medications, conflict, death or a loss, gender, genes. major events. So it's quite possible that, yes, you could go through some form of childhood abuse that kind of triggers depression. But for some people who have a genetic predisposition to being depressed, it's not really like this one thing caused depression. It's more so that it's just like that they're more likely to develop it. And that was at least the situation for me. And I know I don't at all speak for everybody, but at least as far as my own, anecdotal personal experience, I had a pretty good childhood. I mean, obviously, there's stuff I look back on now and I think, oh, I probably would have done that differently, or I don't agree with this. But no, generally, I did not have abusive parents. I was never going hungry. I had a very comfortable life, but yet I still developed depression. And that's because of, at least for me, genetically, I'm more likely to, because my dad doesn't have anything as bad as I do, but like my dad has some issues. And then my dad's mom also had problems with like depression, anxiety, OCD. What's the one thing called? Where you're terrified of medical illnesses. I forget what it's called. But yeah, like a lot of people are just more predisposed to it.
Right. So it's not you're not saying that
Oh,
someone can be
hypochondriac. Sorry, hypochondria is where you're
hybrid.
usually really scared of having a medical condition, even if you've been to the doctor, they tell you you don't have this medical condition, you're okay. You just keep having this anxiety, like, what if I have terminal cancer and they just haven't figured it out or something? That would be the mental illness then. But sorry, go
Okay,
ahead.
so you're not saying that someone at birth can be just an unlucky person basically, and you got depression. You're gonna develop depression as you get older and as you get older. It can happen like in okay, I'm 13, 14 years old. I've been fine my whole life, and then it can start developing at 13, 14. Or are you
That's
saying
what I would
that is
expect,
at
but
birth?
I'm going to look it up though, like because I've also heard of people who have depression like really early on in life. Depression is known to run in families, suggesting that genetic factors contribute to the risk of developing this disease. Is it possible for someone to be born depressed? Oh wow, so major depression is probably 40 to 50% heritable and might be higher for severe depression. This could mean that in most cases, depression, around 50% of the cause is genetic and around 50% is unrelated to genes, psychological or physical factors.
So it's basically like
It's a
yeah, it's
mix, but
50
you're at a
50. Yeah,
very
it's
high
a mix of
likelihood
both.
of, you're at a very high predisposition to developing it.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
You're a little bit
So,
muffled here.
oh my bad. Does it sound better now?
It sounds much better, yeah.
Okay. So someone that is clinically depressed, it's just over. Like not saying it's over as in lay down and accept that you're depressed and don't do nothing, don't get out of bed, start eating more, start do. But if you're clinically depressed, you don't think that ever goes away or it can't ever go away, or do you think like so for you example, uh you are on antidepressants.
hmm
So are you how if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been on antidepressants?
Well, I started taking Zoloft more for like anxiety and OCD shit back in 2019, I think. It was around the time when it was around the time when my daughter was born. Because I was just having like crazy anxiety about all sorts of dumb shit. So like I would go into the bathroom mirror and then turn on my phone flashlight and open my mouth and look at my throat. And then if I thought I saw something that looked like concerning, I would start having like major anxiety about it. Like I was irrational. It was bizarre. Um, and so it reached a point where I'm like, I can't, if I'm going to have a kid, like I just cannot be fucking dealing with this kind of shit. So I started taking the Zoloft. I was on Zoloft for up until 2021. Or I'm sorry, no, 2022. And then the beginning of 2022, my doctor gave me really bad advice and told me to just like stop taking it, which every motherfucker knows you don't just stop taking medication you've been taking for a long time. But I stopped taking it and then I switched over to Lexapro. And now I take Lexapro and Wellbutrin because they're both separate medications that do different things.
Okay, and you're gonna be so how long roughly? So this medicine that you were first subscribed, was that helping you with your anxiety and all that stuff that you were talking about, the problems
Yeah,
you were having?
yes, amazingly. So a lot of the times what happens is when you first start taking the medicine, especially if it's like a serotonin thing, um, it can lead to almost a exaggerated sense of like positive mood. And then that kind of wears off and then you sort of just steady out where you're not like euphoric, right? But you're also not just like everything sucks and I just want to die. You're kind of just at a normal fucking stage. So yes, when I first started that, it helped immensely. And honestly, since I went on Zoloft, even though I'm not on it anymore, my OCD has largely not gone away. It's not cured, but it is not by any means like the my biggest struggle right now. Like it's kind of OCD was the thing I dealt with pretty much throughout my entire like teenage years. Um, and then once I got through that, now it's like depression. But usually they're all kind of all one and the same, sort of linked. So, yeah.
So how long do you think you're gonna be on these medications? Like, is this just like an acceptance thing? Like, this is what's making me better, so you're gonna continue to do this for I want to say necessarily ever, but like forever, basically,
I mean, keep in mind this is
or
a more
until you're
simplified
better, or
thing.
like what, like, or until you're better, or like when is like, okay, I'm cured, or is there never a I'm cured moment?
Yeah,
It's
there's
just I
not
got
you're
to
not
keep
really
taking these to make me cured, basically, and feel better for at the moment.
well,
And you
you're
said
aware
that
that well, hold on,
continue.
wait.
Go ahead. Go
It's
ahead.
not
Go
it's
ahead.
not
Go ahead.
like feeling better at the moment because antidepressants you have to take them over a period of like several weeks before you start to feel even any results. So it's not like, let me just pop a pill and I'm all of a sudden going to be way better. Hell yeah. It's like, I need to commit to taking this medication every day at this time. And I'm not even going to feel any of the benefits from it until like 3 weeks. And that's just when you start to sort of notice stuff. And then you're going to keep going, right? And then it's not until like, I think it's like maybe 6 weeks until you actually feel like the full benefits of the medication. So that's the first thing is that it's not just like pop a pill, you're better. Um, and then as far as like taking medication, yeah, I'm probably going to be on antidepressants forever. Yeah, probably. I'll probably change to like different brands and different kinds and whatnot because although serotonin is not the only thing responsible for depression, and although serotonin reinhibitors don't work for everybody, they seem to work for me well enough so that yeah, like if this thing is helping me not want to fucking kill myself, then I'm probably going to keep taking it. And then I'm like, well, it's a medication. It's FDA approved. It's gone through the necessary tests. Um, yeah, it's just like kind of accepting the fact that it's like a chronic illness that's just not going to ever be fully cured, but it can certainly be managed and mitigated to the point that you can still live a satisfying, fulfilling, and happy life.
Okay, so if you did stop taking these antidepressant pills and all the medication, then your depression and all that would spike again, and it would be more severe as it was before,
Well, if you were to
or
abruptly, so if you were to abruptly stop taking the medication, which by the way, this is for virtually any medication, so this isn't like a unique thing with antidepressants, you would probably have like some pretty severe withdrawal symptoms just
yeah,
because your
right,
body is sort of relying on this medication at that point. Um,
right.
so that's why the first thing is like you're specifically advised that one, if you're going to stop taking your meds, you need to talk to your doctor first, obviously, and two, you need to taper off of them, not just like quit cold turkey. So that's the first thing. But yeah, like if I were to go off the medication, let's say like I went off the medication, didn't have withdrawal or anything, then yeah, the anxiety and depression would probably spike. But I mean, I'm on medication now and I still have depression and days where I'm like, yeah, I kind of just want to die. So like it's not a cure, it's not a fix all, but it definitely, and the way I like to describe it best is it gets you to a point in which you're able to say to yourself, okay, I have depression. I recognize what it is. I no longer feel this debilitating feeling of like literally just wanting to stay in bed for the rest of your life. You're able to kind of get up and motivate yourself enough so, yeah, to go to the gym, to do other things that might continue to improve depression. Medication is more for like helping you avoid falling into or helping you get out of, depending where you are in life, um, like a debilitating depressive stage. It's more about like just managing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like for
Voice
me
of the, sorry to
personally,
interrupt you. Voice of the
go ahead.
people, you have 3 minutes to get into the Discord. If I don't see you, you're permanently banned. You're saying I'm making excuses for not wanting to get better. That's very strange, but okay, I would be happy to talk to you about that. Sorry. Just had to call out a dipshit in chat. Please continue.
For me personally, like I ever since I was young, like some things that are little that probably shouldn't trigger me got me really triggered. Like I realized at a young age that also my mom and dad, which my dad's not in my life, but that's besides the point. But I knew when he was, for the short period of time that he had anger issues.
Hmm.
Same with my mom. She has anger issues. And I realized, like, okay, they have anger issues. I get mad at little stuff that I shouldn't get mad at, and stuff that I should get mad at, I get extremely mad.
Right.
So I realized, like, okay, I have anger issues myself.
Right.
And for me, smoking weed helped that a lot. Like if I was mad, like for instance, if I wasn't currently high, like high basically, which I don't like using the word high, but whatever, that's what it is. So I can't just, that's the facts of it. But when I
Yeah.
did smoke weed, it calmed my nerves, and I was not like, I would be angry, and then when I'm done smoking, I would be calm again.
Right.
And recently, as in 2 days ago, I just stopped smoking weed, and I was doing it consistently every day. So I'm having a little bit of withdrawals from it. It's nothing crazy, just like eating is a little messed up, sleep's a little messed up.
Right.
Um,
How long have you been doing it consistently every day?
uh,
Has it been like
dude,
weeks, like years,
oh no,
months?
not weeks. It's been so. I just graduated high school. During high school, when I did play basketball, I stopped completely,
Okay.
and that was 2021 towards the end of the year, and then I got shoulder surgery 2022, the beginning of the year. So I was done for the season in the middle of the season. Since then, I've been smoking weed every single day for like a year straight.
Gotcha.
And before that, I did also smoke every day before basketball season started since the summertime, and like been smoking or whatever. And it's always helped my anger and stuff, but
But I'm guessing
it
it
also
probably only helps your anger while you're high, right? Because then when it wears
right, that's
off, you're probably back to feeling shitty.
what I wouldn't necessarily, yeah, well,
Not shitty,
kind of.
but you know, you're
Right.
back
Yeah, I know
to,
what you're saying. I know
yeah.
what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But that's what I'm trying to get at with the medication. So with the medication, it's just helping you for at the moment, I feel like. And I get you said like it helps you not only when you pop it, but like after the fact that you feel a little better still, which I feel like I don't know. I feel like just like how smoking weed was like a a easy get out for me instead of
Right.
taking a couple deep breaths, realizing the situation, realizing that this is not as bad as I'm making it. I shouldn't be as mad. I just go smoke my weed, and now I feel fine.
Right. You know, what's
So I'm saying,
interesting is it's actually sort of reverse. So like, d- first of all, I'm not surprised at all because when I smoke weed or do edibles or whatever, like they help me feel way better also for like a short time because obviously it just increases a bunch of dopamine and all that shit. Um, but the thing is that so if you consistently do weed, because I've talked about like people make fun of me and it's fine, but like I was addicted to weed back from 2021, and then it was the beginning of 2022 when I quit weed cold turkey. At the same time, I took the fucking bad advice from the doctor and quit Zoloft cold turkey. So I was on the highest dose available, the highest therapeutic dose available for Zoloft, and I stopped cold turkey at the same time I stopped weed cold turkey when I'd been smoking every day throughout the day for like a year, maybe more. So you can imagine that I was in like absolute hell, right? For a really long ass time. So the thing that you need to remember is it's actually doing weed frequently has downstream negative effects. Taking a antidepressant is the opposite. If anything, it has long-term benefits. It's good to have something that balances you out because I think people think, well, I need to be thinking rationally, and the rational version of me is non-medicated. But when you have mental illness, no, the rational side of you or the mental illness is causing you to have irrational thought patterns and to act irrationally to things. So a lot of the times it's medication helps balance you out. It's not getting you high. It's not making you happy no matter what. You should still be able to feel feelings. Some people have problems with that, but again, that's talk to your doctor about it and everything. But yeah, like it's supposed to just kind of balance you out, whereas marijuana has long-term negative effects. So long-term consistent marijuana use, first of all, it shows that it actually um, blunts, I guess, would be blunts dopamine receptors in your brain. So if you smoke weed for a really long time, now this might go away after stopping weed for a while, but it makes it harder for your brain to process dopamine efficiently, which means that it's then even more likely you'll be depressed because of the weed. And then even more so, there's been studies that have shown that when people are using marijuana really frequently, they actually report more extreme and exaggerated negative emotions. So I'm not disagreeing with you. When you smoke weed, yeah, for the first like 4 hours, it's fucking great. Like, obviously, that's why I got addicted to it. But then it's like the long-term consistent use that leads to the problems. Whereas with antidepressants, it's the opposite. You're balancing yourself out. You're bringing yourself back to baseline, the way a healthy human being's brain really should ideally operate. And then you're able to move forward from there. With weed, it feels so good because it too is fake. It's not real. No one feels consistently euphoric and good about everything all the time, or at least you shouldn't, because that too would be irrational. Sorry, that was kind of long-winded.
No, you're good. So I get weed has a long-term negative effect, not only on like your health, as in your lungs and things like that. You're saying that it causes the emotional things that it also does, which I never experienced, so I can't speak on that.
Right. And again,
The
this isn't for everybody either. And it's also like how long you've been using, how much you've been doing. Like, that's all going to play a role. But go ahead.
so take I, if correct me if I'm wrong, but taking any type of pill, whether it's an Advil or whatever the case may be, is that not bad for your stomach line? Is that not bad for your health in general? Or am I
Um,
wrong? Am I wrong about that? Because I could be.
well,
I'm
there's
not gonna
some
sit here and say
painkillers
I
that
know for a fact, but like not necessarily painkillers. Just so okay. Continue. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I
Before I
was gonna
start
say, so
rambling.
like ibuprofen. I don't know what Advil is, if it's ibuprofen or if it would be like ibuprofen or Tylenol. Um, so ibuprofen does irritate the stomach lining, so it's not recommended to take that if you're having like stomach issues. But Tylenol works differently. It works more so in your brain and how you process the feeling of pain. So Tylenol is safe to take when you have a sore stomach, and it can help a sore stomach because it doesn't irritate the stomach lining. Again, this is what I'm saying based on what I've read. I'm not a doctor. Nobody take my advice for anything medical, please. Um, but that's my understanding anyway. So, like, yeah, maybe that could cause some irritation, but I don't think antidepressants irritate your stomach lining. I would have to look that up, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So not just the stomach lining, but just on your health in general, not mental health per se, but like physical health. Like
Hmm?
okay, yeah, you just clearly said that you're not aware, so you'd have to look it up. But
I'll look it up right now.
okay, okay,
Um, Common side effects. So it does say indigestion and stomach aches, but those are usually just the side effects when you first begin a medication, which I feel like it's kind of common knowledge that, like, yeah, if you're going to take a long term medication, it's probably going to have some negative side effects that then kind of go away over time.
okay, okay.
So yeah, because like I would have some of these side effects too, but I don't have any of those side effects anymore. So yeah.
Oh man, it was nice talking to you, man.
Yeah, it was
I
nice talking to you
honestly
too.
thought this. I thought it was gonna be a lot different, to be honest. Like your clips and stuff, your YouTube shorts or whatever.
Yeah.
I wish I would have watched more of your shorts before this, so I could have more of my points because like at the time I'll have like such a good point, but now it's been weeks and weeks, probably months since I've seen some of the clips that I wanted to that I disagreed with what you said on.
Sure. Well, the thing is too
Um,
is a lot of the clips, obviously it's 60 seconds, so I'm
right. So not a
splicing
good
it to show the most intense moment or whatever. But like
right.
if you go through my channel and look at the debates playlist, not all my debates are like you're a fucking idiot. Like there's plenty of debates that are
Oh yeah,
just
I
like
know.
this where it's more of just like conversational, talking about disagreements. I try to do both, and I do enjoy the blood, the angry debates. Those are definitely fun, but like
Right.
that's not all I do. But of course, in my clips, I'm going to be showcasing the most
The
intense
juicy stuff.
moments, right?
Right. The good stuff.
Right.
The good stuff. I know what you're saying. I have watched some of your debate with Sneakio, when he was telling you basically don't tell
Sneako.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like Sneako, huh?
No, I think he's really such a joke.
He's such a joke, you think? So you don't think his message is positive in any way?
Oh, are you a Sneako
What
fan?
what is idea personally, I like him. I ain't got no problem with Sneako at all. Yeah, I watched his content when he was on YouTube. He's not on YouTube as much no more. Like not just him, like himself being banned off YouTube, off his channel, but like people posting him as much. I don't see as many clips as him no more. But yeah, I like Sneakio. I didn't have no problem with him.
Well, if you want
Also
to come
Tate,
back,
you
we
don't
can
like Tate
always.
either. You don't like Andrew Tate either. I'm a big fan of Andrew Tate's.
Are
Like
you
I want to
actually a
say,
big
I'm
Andrew
not
Tate
no
fan?
quick.
Because if you are, then
Yeah,
maybe
I'm
we
not
can
like
just
a
talk about
diehard
this, and
Andrew.
then I'll just like
No,
clip it from right here, and then we can just like do the Andrew Tate debate. Because I've been
wait,
getting a lot of
say
Andrew
that one
Tate
more time.
fans. I said, if you're a
Say
big
that.
Andrew Tate fan, maybe we can just talk about that for a few minutes, and then I'll just post the part of our debate with the Andrew Tate thing. Because I've been getting a lot of Andrew Tate fans, but you say you're a
Okay.
Sneako fan also. What do you like about them?
Um. Well, me personally, I've always been in pretty good shape myself. Before watching Andrew Tate's content, before watching Sneaky, before them people were even famous on YouTube, basically.
Hmm.
I've always been one to try to tell my friends, dude, don't drink that pop, don't eat that brownie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
come with me and go on this run, do push ups with me, blah, blah, blah. I feel like that's a very positive thing to preach. And Andrew Tate preaches it a lot. And also I was in a slump for a second because of my shoulder. I was always like, I'll do some push-ups. Oh, my shoulder hurts. I'm gonna stop doing them for 2 weeks, 3, 4 weeks at a time, and then maybe I'll start doing them for like maybe 3, 4 days, and then oh, my shoulder.
Right.
Basically, just the mindset of don't do it when you feel like it. Get over the okay, I'm sad. I'm not gonna do my push-ups. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit of pain. Which if it's unbearable and it's gonna cause longer term pain, then don't do it. Obviously, stay away from it. But like just their messages in general. Like Tate preaches be better, like be self-improvement, like the self-improvement part that they preach. I like that a lot. I feel
Sure,
like
and
that
but the
also
thing is don't you feel like you could get that exact same advice from like anybody else? Because it's
yeah,
Andrew Tate and Sneako, their main thing is not like just hit the gym more. Because one, I agree that you should work out. That's really healthy. I have not taken my own advice, obviously, but it's a good thing to work out. I agree that yeah, if you're just feeling sad one day, it's not an excuse to just like give up on all your responsibilities or let yourself get out of shape because you felt sad. But a lot of the times it's this surface level good advice, which let's be real, any motherfucker could tell you go to the gym. The thing is that it's baked in with a lot of bullshit. So you have Sneeko who's
like
gone like,
as in what?
well, you have Sneeko who's gone like unhinged conspiracy direction. He's become like a
Yeah, I don't,
massive
I don't, I
conspiracy
don't
theorist.
like a lot of conspiracy. If it's not proven or have like very little to no proof, I'm not too big into conspiracies. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so Sneeko has gone off the deep end with conspiracies, talking about the they and the vaccines and all this shit. And with Tate, not only is there a lot of like sexism sort of intertwined with his viewpoints, but it's also that, and I've noticed that they do this a lot, where they'll give really shitty advice, like where Andrew Tate was arguing that women are not as good drivers, and then when they're pressed on it they backtrack into, well, that's just my personal experience. But the original argument being made was not, my personal experience is that women aren't good drivers. It's usually a bull-faced statement like, women suck at driving. And then when someone's like, well, actually, bro, here's some data that completely contradicts that, they backtrack into, well, that was just my personal experience, actually. So a lot of the times it's like Tate, maybe he brings surface level good advice. I actually agree with that generally speaking. However, that's not the same as like him or to me, that does not nearly outweigh the negatives of the type of masculinity that he pushes for. The idea that women kind of are property, he argued that at one point, or that women are bad drivers, or stuff like this, I find to be very detrimental for just the well being of men and women. And lastly, not to be too long winded here, but I'll say really quickly, it's also kind of no, it's not really that surprising that also the people who are fans of Andrew Tate and Sneako all have the similar mindset of you can just gym your way out of depression, dude, because that's just not true. And that's not based on what clinical depression actually is. And that is just not how what the facts have demonstrated thus far when we're talking about depression. So it's like a lot of these Tate fans, Sneako fans, they say like, oh, they have good advice like working out, but they also then all adopt this mindset of either women bad or just suck it up and don't be depressed and get over it.
Okay, and yeah, any motherfucker can tell you this. Whatever, anybody can. My thing is, nobody is like there is like the people that are is Tate, Sneakio,
Are
Myron,
you
and
really, hey, really, sorry to interrupt. Are you really a fan of Sneako? Because it's Sneako and you keep saying Sneakio.
uh yeah, I'm not very good at English. Dog.
No, 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 it's
No,
okay.
but
I'm not trying to give you, I'm not trying to give you a hard time or anything. I just want to make
no,
sure
give
you.
me a hard time, dog. I'm cool with it. I'm good with it. Sneako, Sneakio, whatever. Okay, I've been saying it wrong. Sneako and Tate. What?
Uh-huh.
He just so is it Sneakio or Sneako? Isn't it
Sneako.
Sneako?
Sneako.
Sneako, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Sneako. Okay. Sorry, this idiot in the back's trying to correct me. But any person, yeah, can tell you this. But my thing is, they're the people with millions of followers, millions of viewers that are doing it, that are promoting it, and are saying these things. And it's
But their
not just
main
like a
thing they
working.
focus. First of all, I don't
But
agree with that. There's plenty of people you can listen to that are going to talk about how important it is to work out. Like go follow like a
not just
fit.
working out, not just working out is that's also what I was gonna say. It's not just their advice of working out and that is other things too. But continue. I'll get into that in a second. But continue.
Well, yeah, it's like go follow like a fitness influencer. They're all going to be like, "Hey, working out, it's so good. Here's the benefits of working out. It's great. Work out, work out." And that's fine because again, it's true. You should work out. That's healthy for you. That's good advice. But like Sneeko does not even necessarily talk that much about working out. And neither does Tate. They focus
Um,
way more on like this women bad narrative. And here's I'm looking through Sneeko's Twitter. Here's Sneeko tweeting, let's see, February 23rd, so yesterday. Islam is the strongest force resisting wokeness. And so,
yeah, I'm not a religious person at all. I don't believe in God or a higher power at all. Like
sure, and
Islam,
but it's that
Christianity, I
Islam
don't at
also has
all.
a lot of backwards views when we're talking about certain progressive ideals, like treating women not like property and stuff. And so, like, there was that clip I went over it not too long ago. I would recommend watching my most recent video on Sneeko. It was a couple weeks ago now, where he was asked directly about Islam and the fact that Muhammad allegedly married or had sex with a
Seeing that,
9-year-old girl.
I
You
seen that. I was just talking about this recently,
you saw the clip, or
last night. Actually,
yeah,
yeah, I
where he
seen the
was
clip.
like,
I seen
"Oh,
the part.
everybody makes mistakes." Like,
Yeah, no, yeah. See, that's one thing. But like, I'm not fully. I wouldn't say, as they say, red pill, blue pill. I'm sort of in the middle, more so leaning towards the red pill side. Like,
mhm.
I'm not just a sneaky old dick suck. I'm not an Andrew Tate dick suck. There's things that they say that I don't agree with. I don't agree with solely everything they say. Now,
Right.
with Sneakio saying that, that's one thing. For example, everybody makes mistakes, as in fucking a 9-year-old. What the fuck? Like, what you mean? Everybody makes mistakes.
Right,
That
like,
wasn't just a mistake. He lived with that. He was married to that woman at 6, and
yeah,
then
like
had
that's
sex.
that's not a
That's not a
mistake.
mistake.
You didn't
That's a
accidentally
choice.
rape a child. Like, come on.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm not like just some fucking dick sucker of Andrew Tate, dick sucker of Sneakio. I do disagree. Like I will never just agree with somebody because I like them or agree with them because I agree with most of the things they're saying. And then they say some bullshit and I'm agree with that because of the previous things they said.
Mhm.
That was one of them when I was like, okay, this Hunter guy might not be as bad as I thought. And then honestly, this conversation, you're not as bad as I thought, to be honest. I thought you were more of a, I don't know. I'm
Just
not
gonna
gonna get
start
into that.
yelling at you or something.
No, not yelling at me, cause not necessarily that, but just
I can be pretty
you're
condescending, and also it's that I've my older debates I would come in a lot hotter. Where now I try to I really my goal is to just approach every discussion slash debate in good faith and try to be pretty chill. But then if the caller says something or behaves in a way where I feel it warrants a little bit more of like the roasting, condescending approach, then I will take that approach. But usually I let them fire the first shot. So like since you've been chill, I'm gonna stay chill. But like
so I gotta
obviously if you were
turn
like,
up.
Hunter, you're just a fucking moron, then like maybe things would change. I don't know.
So you're saying I gotta start bringing the heat if I'm trying to get clipped.
No, actually, I'm probably going to move on to the next caller here soon, but I will just let's just close with this is that with all the quote unquote positive advice that like Tate and Sneako give, it is so heavily outweighed by the negatives with whether we're talking about Sneako saying everybody makes mistakes when it comes to like raping kids, or whether we're talking about Tate saying women are bad drivers or women are kind of property actually and shit like that. Like that to me is so much more worse and impactful than like hit the gym, bro. I feel like anybody could tell you that. That's why I'll close with that. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Anybody can tell you that. That's true. But and maybe it's not the main source of what they're trying to preach and main thing that they are trying to preach. But when Tate said, he don't the thing that that clip went viral off of. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he was saying he don't let women drive his cars, and then it went from there, right? His car.
It was he was going on and on about how like women are not good drivers in his experience and stuff like that. I don't know if it was about
Yeah, I seen the debate he had with I
Hassan.
forget the guy's name, long hair.
Yeah, you're thinking
Hassan,
Hassan.
yeah.
Hassan, yeah.
Hassan, right. Yeah, I seen you react to it actually. That's where I seen it at.
Okay.
And I don't believe he was saying like to the people, this is a fact that women are bad drivers. I think he was stating his opinion, which I believe anybody and everybody is entitled to their opinion. In my opinion, if I believe that, or in his opinion, if he believes that women are bad drivers, that's his opinion. And
Sure.
yeah, he has a million people that seen that clip and maybe take his opinion and turn it into their opinion, which isn't his fault at all.
Well, it kind of
That
is
people,
when he's taking his opinion, but then weaponizing his opinion more or less and using it as a prescriptive. So like if it's like in my opinion, women are not very good drivers. That's really not what he's saying though. He's going, women are bad drivers. They could crash the car, blah blah blah. And then when they're pressed, it's like this is my opinion, or well, this is actually just my personal experience. And so it seems like more of a backtrack rather than like they started off by explaining how this is just their opinion. And then they make
yeah, I don't
larger
feel,
prescriptive claims too off of that. So like again, if you're saying my experience with some of my female friends is that they're not very good drivers, that's a very big different claim than women are bad drivers, right?
yeah, right. I hear what you're saying. So So since he didn't per se say this is my opinion before stating his opinion, then that means he was trying to state it as a fact.
I would
Is
have to
what you're
go back
saying?
and look at the well no, first of all no, I'm not saying that he needs to be like this is my opinion like robotically, but I would have to go back and look at exactly how the clip went. But a lot of the times, him and Sneako, they will make claims about women and then kind of back up to, well, it was my opinion or, well, it's my experience, stuff like that. It's rarely delivered as if it's this guy's opinion, but rather more like Andrew Tate gives dating advice kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I seen the clip, not just like after and hearing people debate with him about it and all that, I didn't really take it as he's trying to send me the message to believe that. I didn't feel like,
Once you look,
okay, maybe women are bad drivers. Maybe this guy's right. I didn't take that like as that. I took it as this guy just in his opinion thinks women are bad. Like
Hold on one
women are bad
second. I'm going to
drivers, I
try to
guess.
see if I can find this one.
as a matter of fact, are just generally untrue. There's no empirical on some of your work as you're doing the rounds on resort to is just
Cool.
your
That's
personal
fine.
opinion.
So I guess he said something
disagree with me. That's fine, and that's the same with nearly any statement in the world.
Okay,
I can say the world is round, and there'll be a percentage of people who disagree with me. That's totally and utterly fine. I come on here and talk about my own personal experiences, and my experience is men are better drivers than women. I'm not saying there's no good female drivers. I'm not saying a female can't.
No. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. There is a truth, and then there is your own personal experiences.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, at least as where I started this clip when I was reacting to it, he was going, well, this is my personal experience and whatnot. But again, it's like your personal experience, your own opinion can only go so far. And also, just if it's your own opinion, just if it's your personal experience, doesn't mean that you're not wrong, right?
Right, I agree with that. That don't mean you're not wrong. But for people to, yeah, that don't mean you're not wrong, because you can state an opinion that is wrong.
Right.
I don't feel like we know that, though. I don't feel like we know who it's like, if a woman is a worse driver than a man. It's subjective for sure.
Well, it's obviously going to be subjective because it's involving human interpretation. However, based on the research and evidence that we have, virtually every bit of research suggests that women are just as good as drivers as men. Like, men get in more accidents, I believe, and I would have to double check if that was per capita because there are more men drivers in general.
Yeah, okay.
Men tend to have more road rage incidents and stuff like that. Women tend to be a little bit more calm and collected at the wheel. There's just not a whole lot of evidence that, like, women as a collective are bad drivers. Some women are bad drivers, but some men are bad drivers too. And then it kind of loses its appeal because anybody could be anything. That's not really as interesting as, like, making a broader statement.
Right, that's true.
But I do have to probably split here from this convo. This has been a really good conversation, and if you, the men are charged more for insurance as well. That's right.
Yeah, I know that.
If you want to jump back on here and have another conversation or continue this, be more than happy to. I might end up posting this one on the channel because this overall conversation was definitely a good one. So yeah.
Okay. I might hop back on. I might be sleeping. I work night shift and probably shouldn't be up. But if I do, I want to debate that Tate being locked up right now is complete and utter bullshit.
Oh boy, I don't know how much of a good debate that's going to be, because I've maintained that it is innocent until proven guilty. I said I wouldn't be super surprised if it was true because of the way that Andrew Tate's behaved. However, I am not going to say that he is guilty of those crimes or that he has done it or hasn't done it. I'm just going to wait for the evidence. That's been my approach the whole time.
Okay. I might have thought I thought you might have had a different approach on that.
It's probably that because I've made fun of him before for getting arrested and like cracked jokes about it. But
yeah. I thought you would have thought, okay, this guy's.
You're gonna want to find someone else who's been more like, this is the truth, or he is totally guilty, kind of thing.
Yeah, right, exactly. So yeah, that's where I kind of thought you were standing on that situation.
All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for coming on here.
Real quick, one second. Just a real quick, like you could say, you think a man with multi-millionaire man, multiple women that want him, multiple females that want him and can't get him, that he turns down, would you think that it's possible? Like, I don't even think it's damn near it's obviously not out of the realm of possibility, but I would put it in a very, very low percentage that a man like that would have to do that type of thing.
Right. So I've heard this argument, and again, I think this is a bad argument, but just let it be known that me explaining that this is a bad argument doesn't mean that I'm saying Tate is actually in fact guilty. But the reason that's a bad argument is that virtually every scandal involving a famous person abusing somebody that argument could play a role. So like the people that went to Epstein's Island, they were all really rich and famous. They could probably get a woman really easily because they were super rich and famous. So do they really need to go and molest children on an island? Like, no, they don't need to, but they do it anyway. So I don't think that that's a very solid argument.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, and I know you got to go, so I'm not going to get too much more into that. But no, it was nice talking to you, man. I thought it was going to be a lot different. I knew you weren't just a blue pill cuck retard and whatever, but I knew you had more rational thought than a lot of people that are on the that side of things. But
well, hey, I appreciate that. Thank you, and have a good rest of your day. I'll see you.
Yeah, you too.